Good morning. My name is Cindy Parker, and I am a member of the Board of Trustees. I'm happy to welcome you this morning to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Brunswick, Maine. Today is Sunday, May 2nd, 2021. Our service today is led by our interim minister, Reverend Justine Sullivan, and the topic is Black Lives Matter is a Prayer. This is the first Sunday in May when we usually introduce our Charity with Soul for the month, Habitat for Humanity for May. Your support helps our local chapter, Habitat for Humanity 7 Rivers, Maine, to create successful home ownership opportunities for families and individuals with limited incomes by building sustainable housing and repairing, weatherizing, and modifying existing homes in 31 southern mid-coast Maine towns. Please give generously. One more announcement before we begin. On Saturday, May 8th, that's this coming Saturday, at 10 a.m., the membership committee, along with Reverend Justine, will host a Zoom class for those interested in learning more about UUCB and Unitarian Universalism. To register and receive a packet of information, please contact Shirley Bernier, our office administrator, by this Friday. You can email her, you can call her between 10 and 2, and you could call and leave a message anytime you like. And now, please enjoy the service.
Hi friends, I'm Katie Luce. I'm the Development and Community Engagement Director for Habitat for Humanity. And I am in the Restore, and like magic, we're gonna go up to my office. Hi friends, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm very excited to be a part of today's service and to be telling you about all the things that are going on here at Habitat. So I am most excited and want to extend a huge congratulations to Team UUCB for all of their great walk on the 28th annual Walk to Build so far. You're the #1 team in first place, and I'm really excited about the events that you have coming up. So thank you for participating, and if you're still interested in joining the team and haven't done so yet, you can certainly still register. See Cuffy or Gretchen for all of the details. And so this year's 28th annual Walk to Build is going to help us to fund a lot of the programs that are going on here at Habitat. So we're currently searching for a family that is going to be the recipient of the house that we're getting ready to build in Wiscasset later on this year. So as that comes to fruition, we'll make sure to give you some more details about that and volunteering opportunities and all of the exciting things that come with building a house for a family. Our 3 teams of weatherization and critical repair teams are getting back out into the field, and they're doing some really great work as well for folks that are often disabled or elderly and have weatherization or critical repair projects that they really can't do themselves. So our awesome teams of volunteers go out and help to do those projects and get everybody back in a safe and comfortable and affordable home, and oftentimes keep them in their homes. So we are also really having some good things going on at the Restore. So we are going to be hopefully open until 5 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. Right now, we're giving it a test shot, and we're hoping by the middle of the summer that we have all of the volunteers that are needed to stay open until 5 o'clock long term. So if you're looking for something to do on a Saturday afternoon or any afternoon, that's Tuesday through Saturday, you come and see us because we'll put you to work. So thank you again to all of the UUCB members that are already excellent volunteers and walk members. You make a huge difference, and we really can't thank you enough for all that you do. So thank you, and we look forward to seeing you out on the trail.
Our opening words are by the Reverend Angela Herrera, Invocation. Don't leave your broken heart at the door. Bring it to the altar of life. Don't leave your anger behind. It has high standards and the world needs vision. Bring them with you and your joy and your passion. Bring your loving and your courage and your conviction. Bring your need for healing and your power to heal. There is work to do, and you have all that you need to do it right here in this room. Good morning, everyone. This is my dog, Callie. This is the time for all ages, and I hope all the children and youth will join their parents and watch this story. It's called All Because You Matter by Tammy Charles, and I get to do the story this morning because our Director of Religious Exploration, Tobin, is getting a much-deserved day off. Here's our story. All Because You Mattered. All Because You Matter. Written by Tammy Charles. Illustrated by Brian Collier. They say that matter is all things that make up the universe. Energy, stars, space. If that's the case, then you, dear child, matter. Long before you took your place in this world, you were dreamed of, like a knapsack full of wishes carried on the backs of your ancestors as they created empires, pyramids, legacies. Building, inventing, working beneath red-hot suns and cold blue moons, thinking of you years ahead, because to them, you always mattered. On the night you were born, stars sprayed across the sky, each one full of light, hope, love, all the moments in your life that would matter. Like your first steps, Bare feet planted on cold floor, hobbling, wobbling, toppling, only to stand and try again. Or your first words spoken almost like a lullaby, notes climbing a ladder to the sky, Mama, Papa, Mahal kita. Or the first time you opened a book like a mirror staring back at you and really saw yourself. Same hair, same skin, same dreams. The words and pictures coming together like sweet jam on toast. Música blasting through barrios, sun in blue sky, all because you matter. But in galaxies far away, it may seem that light does not always reach lonely planets, covered moons, stars unseen, as if matter no longer exists. And just like moons hidden in the dark, there will be times when you too will question your place in the universe. Like the time you'll hear the teacher call your name, Hosam, Uzomaka, Yordenas. And the whispers and giggles begin, followed by, what kind of name is that? Or the time you'll see a letter, big, bold, red on the page, and you will question if you and your work and your effort matter. Or the time when your pop-pop turns on the news and you see people everywhere take a breath, take a stand, take a knee. And you hear pop-pop's whispered prayers as another name is called. Trayvon, Tamir, Philando. And you wonder if they or you will ever matter. But did you know that you do? Did you know that you were born from queens, chiefs, legends? Did you know that you are the earth, that strength, power, and beauty lie within you? Did you know that you are sun rays, calm like ocean waves, tough like montañas, magic like stars in space? And on the day the universe was created, you were thought of, dreamed of, carried like a knapsack full of wishes as planets, stars, moons took their places, making room for you, your people, their dreams, your future, all because since the beginning of time, you mattered. They mattered. We matter and always will.
When I wake up in America, I see my neighbors there with every type of clothes and shoes, hats and skin and hair, every fine belief and custom. Scores of songs from who knows where. When I wake up in America, our stories fill the air. Wake up, despierta. Wake up, despierta. Wake up in America. The light in the harbor shines for us all when I wake up. it's playing happily, happily swaying. Good to be staying in a place like this, with a face like this. When I wake up in America, I put away my fear, and I love my neighbor as myself, and I say I'm glad that you're here. We have found ourselves together in a land we dream could be. When we wake up in America, everybody will be free. Wake up,
Despierta,
wake up,
despierta.
wake up, please, America. The light in the harbor shines for us all. When I wake up, when you wake up, when we wake up in America.
For our meditation, I again offer words from the Reverend Angela Herrera from her book, Reaching for the Sun, a book of meditations. Sometimes when we pray, we bow our heads, not in subservience, but because it is we and not our neighbor who need prayer. We bow our heads in search of the silence within, or that we might listen and be comforted. We are weak and need strength. We are frightened and need courage. We are humble and thankful, and so we bow our heads. Sometimes we pray with our chins lifted, facing the heavens, receptive, accepting, life flowing over and through us. We are anxious and need patience. We are searching and need direction. We are grateful and radiant, and so we lift our faces. And sometimes prayer pours forth in words from our lips. Oh God, we say, oh life, oh mystery. We pray for all who will be born into this dangerous and beautiful world today, and for all who will die. Love, pour down on them. May they be safe, and may they be at peace, and may they be a blessing upon the world, and may we, every one. Come, let us enter into a time of meditation and prayer.
Precious Lord, take my hand.
A few years ago, I was leading a worship service and talking about mass incarceration of African American men. And I made the observation, something I'd heard many times before, that a black man had a greater chance of going to jail than going to college. A few hours later, I received an email from a congregant, an African American woman. She said, I was thinking about your comment that there are more black men in jail than in college, and it didn't seem quite right to me, so I checked it out, and I found this resource, and I thought you might like to see this information. That college attendance by black males is on the rise and exceeded 1.6 million last year, a number greater than the number of black men who are incarcerated, although that number is shockingly high, over 800,000. I thanked her for correcting my error, and I also thanked her for approaching me in such a kind way. Hey, did you know? And not, how could you? Now, let me be clear, she didn't owe me that kindness, but it definitely made it easier for me to hear what she was offering. And it signaled to me that our relationship was important to her. That she wasn't questioning my intentions, but she wanted me to know that I'd gotten it wrong. And even though she didn't emphasize this, clearly my mistake was hurtful. What must it have been like for black folks in that congregation to hear their minister repeat this false statistic? Yes, Barack Obama had said it, and perhaps because of that, I didn't question it, but that is no excuse for not checking it out. But as Maya Angelou said, do the best you can until you know better. And then when you know better, do better. Wouldn't it be grand if we all lived by that? Do the best you can, and when you know better, do better. Isn't that our covenant with one another as part of a community of faith? What if we could assume that we love each other and wish to do no harm, and then when, not if, but when, we do cause harm, we acknowledged it and took responsibility for doing better? And I would add, it is also our responsibility to keep learning, to keep growing, to keep making the world safer, more just, and more inclusive. Black Lives Matter. It's a phrase that has caused strong reactions in this country. Somehow it has gotten linked with an anti-police sentiment, so much so that often when the words Black Lives Matter are spoken, someone feels compelled to add something like, but police deserve our care and respect too. Now, I would agree that police and all first responders and those who serve in the military deserve our gratitude and our love and our care. But why do we feel compelled, I wonder, to bring that up almost in the same breath as Black Lives Matter? Our intention, I imagine, is to make it clear that we appreciate those who dedicate their lives to serving and protecting the public. That is our intention, to communicate that. But what is the impact? Not the intention, but what is the impact, I wonder, on black people hearing what to me sounds like a disclaimer, like the word but inserted after an apology. You know, I'm sorry that I hurt you, but you made me so mad. I'm sorry I was late, but you should have reminded me. Right? If an apology has the word but in it, it's not really an apology. And to my mind, and to my ears, talking about the police in the same sentence as Black lives diminishes the affirmation, just as the word but diminishes an apology. In February of 2012, 17-year-old African-American child named Trayvon Martin was walking home after purchasing some candy and a drink from a nearby market. George Zimmerman, a member of his local neighborhood watch, thought that Trayvon looked like he didn't belong there. And he followed him, stalked him. Perhaps he taunted him, trying to engage him. I don't know what transpired between them. But we do know that Zimmerman called 911 and said that he was following Trayvon, and the operator told him to stop, to leave him alone. But he didn't. He shot Trayvon dead and was not even arrested for 45 days. He was not even arrested until 45 days after Trayvon's death. In July of 2013, he was found not guilty of Trayvon's murder. There was outrage among white people, to be sure, but most especially among black people. A 17-year-old boy walking home from the store, shot and killed, and no consequences for his killer. It's a familiar story that keeps happening. A community organizer named Alicia Garza began writing about this event, the death of Trayvon Martin, on social media in a series she called A Love Letter to Black People. She ended her post with these words: "Black people, I love you. I love us. Our lives matter." Fellow organizer Patrice Cullors responded to the post with the hashtag Black Lives Matter. The hashtag spread slowly at first, but I noticed and loved and appreciated that it was an affirmation, not an accusation, not a taunt, said nothing, in fact, about police. Trayvon Martin was killed by a civilian, not a police officer. It was a tragic and senseless killing, and in response, these two women called for a loving response of affirmation. Black Lives Matter. In August of 2014, Michael Brown, an 18-year-old African-American man, was shot and killed by a police officer in Ferguson, Missouri. Michael was unarmed. His dead body lay in the hot August sun for 4 hours, while his mother was kept back behind the yellow tape, just feet away from her son, unable to go to her child. Imagine if that happened to your child, your grandchild, your beloved. Even if he'd stolen something, mouthed off at the cop. I don't know exactly what happened, but Michael Brown was unarmed and he ended up dead. And someone uttered the phrase, Black Lives Matter. And this time, perhaps it was angry, defiant even, but it was still an affirmation of the inherent worth and dignity of this child, Michael Brown. Like our children's story this morning, all because you matter. You are born from queens and chiefs. You are beautiful and strong. All the things that we want our children to know, that they are precious and beloved and worthy. In a recent worship service, a 15-year-old member of our youth group, an African-American teenager, shared in a reflection that he thinks of himself now at the age of 15 as an unofficial man. Because, as he explained, I know that I or my father or my siblings who look like me could be killed or injured just because of the color of our skin. Now, wouldn't we say to that young man, a member of this UU community of faith, your life matters. Your black life matters. We've got you. And would we, and oh Lord, I hope not, would we feel compelled to follow up that affirmation, that reassurance of how beloved that child of ours is? Would we have to follow it with, but police lives also matter? Why would we do that? Why would we want to do that? How would it feel to him, to his family, to all of our beloveds with black and brown skin to have to share this affirmation, to have it be qualified, diluted, diminished? Black Lives Matter. Such a simple phrase. Now, this is where I have to issue my own disclaimer, and I confess it troubles me that I feel I have to do this, but let me say, for the record, I am grateful to all the people who serve as police officers, first responders, members of the military, all those who put themselves in harm's way on my behalf, on all our behalf. That is their mission. And we owe them a great debt of gratitude, and I honor them. And let's talk about police and policing and corrections and training, but let's give that topic its own space and time. Let's stop conflating these two ideas. I reject unequivocally the notion that if I say Black Lives Matter, I am making any kind of statement about police at all. And this phrase, blue lives, I didn't see it at first, but now that I do see it, I can't unsee it. The phrase blue lives matter really makes no sense. It's catchy, but friends, Black people, people of African descent, have black skin, and that skin color, more than anything else, defines them. Wherever they go, whatever they do, whatever their income, education, or accomplishment, having black skin in this country puts them at a higher risk for just about everything bad that can happen to a person. It is a total and totalizing identity. Our beloved youth group member understands that at age 15, because of his black skin, he is at risk. He has to be on guard at all times. Police officers, on the other hand, wear a blue uniform when they are on duty. It's a job, it's a role, but it's one they can leave. They take their uniform off at the end of their shift and they go about their life. Their lives are not blue. So blue lives matter really diminishes, in my view, makes a false equivalency with Black Lives Matter. And I would be happy to talk about this at greater length. And I will tell you that if this sermon accomplished nothing else but us making a commitment to stop equating blue lives and black lives, I would feel successful. Language is powerful. Black Lives Matter is a potent phrase. It makes us take notice, pay attention. Now some might say, if only they had just said all lives matter, right? Don't all lives matter? We talk about the inherent worth and dignity of all people. So I think we should say all lives matter. And if they just chosen a more inclusive phrase, I'd be all for it. I don't think we should single one group out for special attention. Really? If they just chosen a different phrase, folks would be all for it? Well, friends, I offer for your consideration the Equal Rights Amendment, the ERA. It says nothing about women in its title. It calls for equal rights for all. Who wouldn't be for that? Remember how people would say if we pass the Equal Rights Amendment, girls and boys will have to share bathrooms and locker rooms, and boys will have to play field hockey, and girls will have to play football and serve in combat, which women do now serve in combat. People got all kinds of worked up about the Equal Rights Amendment, even though its title, its language is inclusive. Isn't it really the status quo being challenged that makes us uncomfortable? And in the case of Black Lives Matter, I think it brings up some white guilt. Are they saying that I think black lives don't matter? Well, who do they think they are? Nothing was handed to me. And what about the police? Don't they matter? See how that can happen? In our own discomfort, we start constructing arguments against something that ought to be basic. Black people have asked something of their white siblings. Tell us that we matter. Show us that we matter. Affirm us. See us. Hear us when we tell you we are in pain. Help make it better. We're telling you so that you will know. And when you know better, you must do better. Let's do better. We have a banner on the front of our church that says, Black Lives Matter. I reject the characterization of that proclamation as being anti-police or anti-white. I see it as an affirmation of the inherent worth and dignity of a group of people that for years, for centuries, have been told and shown that their lives are worth less, that their lives don't matter. As a white person, everything around me tells me that my life matters. I Googled some images of doctors, lawyers, architects, pilots, and these were the images that came up. Then I Googled poverty, addiction, homelessness. And these were the images that appeared. These are the stories that we all see, whether we are black or white. We don't need to say white lives matter any more than we need to talk about equal rights for men or men's liberation. Yes, sexism hurts men as well as women. But we can talk about equal rights for women without talking about men. And yes, racism hurts all of us, but not equally. Structural racism, structural inequality, centuries of centering the rights, experiences, culture, language, even the physical appearance of white people have caused harm, serious harm to people of color and indigenous people, something we here in Maine should be talking about more. Black Lives Matter. Proclaiming that Black Lives Matter is one tiny way to say that what has happened, what is still happening to black folks is not okay. Black Lives Matter is not a taunt or an insult. It is a prayer. It is my prayer. May it be our common prayer, and may we live that prayer in what we do and in what we say. Black Lives Matter. Black lives matter. Black life matters. Amen. Our closing words are by Poet Laureate Joy Harjo. Reconciliation, a prayer. We gather by the shore of all knowledge as peoples who were put here by a God who wanted relatives. This God was lonely for touch and imagined herself as a woman with children to suckle, to sing with, to continue the web of the terrifyingly beautiful cosmos of her womb. This God became a father who wished for others to walk beside him in the belly of creation. This God laughed and cried with us as a sister at the sweet tragedy of our predicament. Foolish humans. Or built a fire as a brother to keep us warm. This God who grew to love us became our lover, sharing tables of food enough for everyone in the whole world. Oh, sun, moon, stars, our other relatives peering at us from the inside of God's house, walk with us as we climb into the next century naked, but for the stories we have of each other. Keep us from giving up in this land of nightmares, which is also the land of miracles. We sing our song which we've been promised has no beginning or end. All acts of kindness are lights in the war for justice. We gather up these strands broken from the web of life. They shiver with our love as we call them the names of our relatives and carry them to our home made of the 4 directions and sing of the South where we feasted and were given new clothes, of the West where we gave up the best of us to the stars as food for the battle, of the North where we cried because we were forsaken by our dreams, of the East because returned to us is the spirit of all that we love. Go in peace and love.